Hello, welcome to Introduction to the Visual Arts. Today we're going to work on a project based on Picasso's Girl with the Mandolin. There is an explanation of this painting elsewhere on Moodle, so I would recommend that you look at it before we do the project. As you can see, there's a girl shape in here, and here's her mandolin, and she looks like after she was painted, she was put in the blender and chopped up. So I call it the blenderization. This is a style created by Pablo Picasso and George Braque, and it's really Cubism, where everything is kind of just reduced to cubist shapes. Now, if you look at Cubism, it's not really a bright color. It's grays and browns and yellows, and it's quite simple. So with that, we're going to get right into our project. The first thing that you're going to need is you're going to need one sheet of white paper, 9 by 12, from your multimedia pack. The second thing that you're going to need is a shoe. I use a tennis shoe or a shoe like this because it's pretty good in that it's a very simple shape, and it also does a good job about filling up the space. Now, the way that I'm going to just change this for a minute. I'm just going to move it this way. You're going to see which side you like the best. Now, if you want a different kind of shoe or a more interesting kind of shoe, that's all right too. Just whatever you like, but just think about trying to fill up the space. And so what you want to do after you have the shoe drawn, and think about the shoe itself as you draw it, and then think about the negative shapes around the shoe. Because whenever you draw something, no matter what it is, you want to look at the negative shape. And sometimes I do things like this, like I put a ruler right up next to it, and then I can see how far from the line I need to draw. I can almost make a box around it, and it even helps to simplify it even more. So my next step is to have my shoe drawn. So here is a shoe that is just a very rough shoe. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to draw with a Sharpie here so that you can see what I'm doing. Then you want to add some of the details. So it's got this kind of thing going on here. It's got a thing coming up here. The back is like this kind of curved line, and it goes probably into here. And then I've got my tongue coming down here. And so you just want to have kind of a simplified version. It doesn't have to be so complex where you've spent hours and hours drawing the shoe, because you want to make it fairly simple. And then what you want to do is you want to take your markers, or basically I mean your colored pencils, and then you want to color it in. But you don't want to have it to have really lots and lots of color, because think back again to the Cubists. They used just kind of light colors. They didn't use such horribly dark colors. And again, you can just simplify a whole lot of things on your shoe. So I'm not going to continue this because I don't want to take up all of the time having you watch me draw this. But so you get the idea that you just draw your shoe as to what detail you want. The next thing, take your colored pencils and color some of it in. And keep the color. The colors can be fairly flat. You can use maybe 1 or 2 colors. You don't have to color in, have a whole range of colors. Because if you spend hours and hours on your shoe, you're going to be very upset with me when I show you the next step. The next step, once your shoe is finished, here is an example of a finished shoe. You want to take your shoe and you want to cut it up in pieces. Now this is a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. You can cut it into strips like this if you want, or you can cut it into squares. It's totally up to you. Now also, this line drawing of this shoe is really just a contour drawing with just a little bit of color in it. That's what it's called when you have this kind of outline. That's a contour drawing. You want the contour drawing, but you want a little bit more than the contour drawing. You want the contour with a little bit of color. Now this person was very clever, and in the back they also put the Nike sign and these diagonal lines. And by doing that, what they did is they ended up filling up the background space and adding another dimension. So after you have this gridded out, then you cut it into these pieces, and don't lose any of the pieces, because then what you want to do is take one of your black sheets of paper, your 9 by 12, I think they are, your black sheets of paper, and you want to glue this on your black sheet of paper. And you can see how they moved the pieces up and down, so that you get your example of cubism. Now, if you really want to make yourself crazy, here is a person who turned up the speed on the blender. They took their shoe, they divided it into 1 by 1 inch squares, and then they reassembled it on their black piece of paper. And you have to look really, really carefully to see the parts. But this is also acceptable. If you don't want to glue it down in an ordered fashion like this, you totally can do something like this. So this is the example of our Cubism project. It's fun. Enjoy it. If you have any questions, you can ask me questions on the Moodle site on the discussion board. Thank you for your attention.